we're very honored to be presenting here at the Turkey Legal Design Summit organized by Legal Hackers Istanbul chapter. And as you know, Legal Hackers is a global movement that brings people together, brings designers and tech people and lawyers together. So it's only fitting that we're doing a seminar on legal design. So at its core, legal design is all about collaboration. So my name is Antti Innanen, and with me we have our junior legal designer, Inkinen.
Hi.
Christine, maybe a couple of words about yourself.
A couple words about myself. I've been working here for I don't know, a month now, maybe 2 months. But as we were introduced, I've been working with legal design since 2016, and since then I've been studying and volunteering in the legal design summit in Helsinki. So this is very familiar to me, but I've never actually spoken at a happening like this. So I'm super excited.
Well, she's a legal design veteran, so no worries about that. So our subject is, let me see if I can get the screen share to work. Yes, here we go. Hopefully this is visible for everyone. Can you see the slides? Thumbs up if you can see something. Good.
Yes, we can see it.
Excellent. So our subject is not just an individual project, but how to build a legal design system on top of the pilot projects that we sometimes struggle with also. So how to create more significant impact and how to transform those smaller projects into something that would be valuable for the client also. So as we all know, it's always easier to start small. It's always easier to start smaller projects because those are ideal starting points also. They can be detached from existing structures, and they can be just allow us to experiment without the pressures of changing business initiatives or changing big clumsy IT systems. It's easy to experiment with a smaller project. Now, typical legal design pilot project might cost, I don't know, let's say 10,000 euros. Have you ever seen how much money is 10,000 euros? That's a lot of money. Like I'm pretty sure that if you are not a drug dealer or if you don't drive like an armored vehicle full of cash, you haven't even seen 10,000 euros in cash. So there is a gap in value perception, at least in my opinion, that the client is paying 10,000 euros for a pilot project and then receiving one visualized terms of service, for example. So we always need to think a little bit further of these pilot projects to bring actual value for the clients. There's an old saying, maybe that's fitting for Valentine's Day also, that that the budget is how organizations express their love. You know, so maybe that's fitting on Valentine's Day also. But I think that that most of the legal designers would love to do bigger projects with their clients. Most of them would love to expand those pilots into something more significant, more meaningful. First, let me talk about a little bit about design maturity. Design maturity means that that if design is well integrated into the business of a company, that's called design maturity. And most of the legal design buyers are quite low on the design maturity scale. This is totally understandable and this is totally normal, and that's how it should be also. But this means also that clients usually want something tangible. This is the request that we're getting all the time, like, can you design us a good looking privacy policy, for example? They're focusing on the tangible results. They're focusing on the visual aspects of legal design. And that's why some of these pilot projects also fail, because the value of the design doesn't really come from the visuals. Like for a visualized privacy policy, 10,000 euros is an awful lot of money. So how can we assist companies in seeing kind of like the true value of legal design? And I'll tell you a short story of our like maturing business also. Like we started off with a very visual idea ourselves also. So we started with the idea that let's make, better looking legal end products. Then we realized that, okay, it's the collaborative processes that we need and the diverse groups of people that we need in order to design better end results. So we focused on that one and we created better ways of working, new processes, and ways of working with diverse teams. Then we realized that, okay, the main issue is the company culture. So how might we create a company culture that supports collaborative processes and different individuals working together so we can arrive to better results. And now we finally arrived to the strategic step, that design means business also. Like how can we be involved in the whole company's strategy, or how can we create like substantial value for the clients and perhaps for the society as a whole also. So these are the steps that we've ourselves like gone through in our own design work. And I think that's kind of like the way that we need to lead our clients through also, so that the design can take center stage, so it can have tangible business results like revenue, valuation, time to market, but also positive impact in society as a whole. It's very unrealistic to think like you can just walk into a boardroom and just like present the legal design project and you would immediately secure management buy-in. So we need pilot projects to test things, to raise awareness, and here are a couple of our suggestions of how can we bridge this gap between smaller projects and bigger impact. How can we help our clients to move upwards on the maturity scale? So these are just our suggestions. Don't expect us to have any definite answers. We won't have them. It's just to present like a couple of general ideas, a couple of general things that we think are valuable, what we've seen in our work. But if you if you have some suggestions yourself, we would be very happy to hear those too.
Yeah,
right?
We would be stoked. Because these are challenges that we also face in our projects almost daily. So we want to, with this presentation today, I think what we want to do is we want to give you tools to deal with these similar challenges that we think you will all face in your legal design journey, but also just to give you some food for thought and an idea of what legal design really is and what it could be, because it can be so much more than just visualizing contracts or whatnot, like Antti said. But it's not automatically all that. We need to make it into something bigger. And so what we want to talk about today is how to make it something bigger, and that's what our suggestions are really about. So up first, I think one of the most important, at least, is we need to demand that all legal design projects have these core elements that we present here. Those are design research, collaboration with the client, and iterative processes. And this is sometimes tempting to skip these. Sometimes it might feel easier, or maybe oftentimes it might feel easier just to present the final product to the client, because I think that is the lawyer way of doing things. We are used to presenting the final product, but that's not about design thinking. And that's why it's super important to keep the client on board during the whole process, during the whole project, so that the client feels in the end that they have gotten more than just that piece of paper. And sometimes I think it's also what the client might feel, that they don't really understand why they need to do these things during the process, because like we said, they are usually very new to this and they don't necessarily exactly understand why they need all these things that we want to give them, despite just the actual product, the actual contract or whatever it is that we design. So they might feel that they don't really want to be, or they might have hard to find the time to be a part of all this. So it's actually very, very important that you, as a legal designer, demand that these things happen during the process. And it's not always easy, but in the end, it will help them level up in the design maturity scale, and it will help them feel like they are actually getting, run for their money, which is what we want to give them, not just the end product. So that is number one. Then a second very common and very challenging phase is the finish. Often in the last phase of the project, when you're closing it on in the finish line, you start to feel like it's been a long race. It's taking its toll. You're quite tired. You've been fine-tuning the product for so long, and you just want to get it over with because you feel like the product is already, whatever it's going to be. But it's super important that at this stage you communicate with the client after the delivery, so that the client does not feel like you just handed them again the end product and then walked away, because the delivery is not the finish line. What is important is that after you have delivered what you promised, you start asking yourself, did the client actually get what they wanted? Most importantly, did they get what you wanted them to get? So do you think that you have helped them with the problem that they first presented you? And is there some way that you can even enhance that perfect product that you gave them? Can you make it bigger? Can you make it better? Can you share it? Is there some bigger impact to be gained with the product? And that is super important.
Yeah. Design fatigue is very real thing also. With these long projects, like the client starts typically like they start hating you, and you kind of like get this idea that I just wish that this project would like end. They feel like never-ending projects. That's why it's so important also in the last steps of the delivery, like take a small break then, and breathe in, breathe out, and then think of these like smaller design projects. Like it's not the delivery that's the finish line. Then you're just starting, so you need to pace yourself a little bit there. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Christine, with this one. So the third one is that we should think about legal design as systems also. Design systems are typically they're a collection of documents or articles or examples, ways of doing design. Most of the bigger companies have their own design systems in place already. If you think of it, legal design could be a system also. We could easily scale also, or not easily, but we could scale the findings of individual projects into systems also. We could help the client to find their own voice, to find their own way of doing legal design also. And that could be the end goal of different like stealth projects also, to find your own way of performing legal design and then codifying that into a system. And something that I want to kind of like, this is a tip that I want to give to you, like if you are involved in a legal design project, document the whole project. Take photos, take videos, take client quotes, save all the materials. That will help you a lot also. That will help you to kind of like present the project, make it a nice story. That could be reused in different projects. That could help the client to find their own voice also. So we don't really want to like upskill everyone in the organization to be legal designers. That's not how we would like to do. Of course, we would like to see more legal designers and more champions inside the organizations, but these kind of design systems would help disseminate the information also inside the organization, and it could potentially even shape the working culture of the organization. Imagine that new people arrive to your organization, you have a way of doing things, or you already have like a legal design voice. Fourth one that I want to talk about is focusing on the larger impact in society. So, just visualizing terms and conditions gets very old at some point. So I encourage you to find those like meaningful projects also, where you could deliver also other kind of value than just revenue for companies or bottom line. Um, in all of the legal design projects, I think that we need to look further than just the end product. Like, could this be useful for a larger group of people? Could this be a new norm? Could we lead the discussion and inspire more people? Could this spark like a miniature movement inside of lawyers or designers, for example? So please, share your work, share your template, share your, secret sauce, your way of doing things. That will help the community also a lot. And try to find those meaningful projects that aren't perhaps only about the bottom line.
Yeah. And
So,
I think
yeah.
kind of regarding that also, what is very important for legal design and for you as a legal designer is finding allies. It's when you go around preaching the virtuous legal design, it's quite easy to run across people who will regard you with suspect, and this is very normal, I think, and it happens to everybody, every one of us, all the time. And it's like Richard Susskind said, it's difficult to tell a room full of millionaires that their business model is wrong. And this is what I think happens with lawyers too when discussing legal design. But instead of focusing on these naysayers, we think that you should always try to find those who are curious about change and who are curious about legal design, because there are plenty. And if we want to grow legal design into a large societal movement, we need to find allies. And I think that's what we all need to bear in mind, that it's not about maybe focusing on the conservative side of law, but instead try to just focus on what you are doing and what's good in this movement. So you will get other people excited about it also. It's kind of hard to maybe sell an idea if you sell it through the negative side.
And the funny thing is, like, even very traditional lawyers are very client-centric. They are very customer-centric. They would love to please their clients also. So through these kind of like projects, I think that if we can demonstrate that this is valuable for clients, even the most traditional lawyers will then pick up these new ways of working too.
Yeah, definitely.
Lawyers are client-centric for sure. They love their clients.
Yeah, they're people pleasers.
They're people pleasers for sure. And that's why you might need like bigger stories, bigger positioning, like use legal design as a branding tool also, because that will drive the client's business, that will deliver the strategic value also. And the example is from Lemonade. From they created this world's first open source insurance policy also. So they use kind of like open source policies and well designed policies to shift them from being policy centric to being customer centric. And this is what we ultimately want to do. We want to deliver strategic value for the companies through legal design. So the true value of legal design is and this is our opinion, in redefining what kind of value legal work can bring. And we need to assist clients in shifting from aesthetics to strategic value. This might happen through pilot projects also, but only if we think a little bit bigger when we're starting these pilot projects, and only if we are staying like adamant that we need to have those basics of legal design also in those smaller projects.
Yeah, because I think it's very important to understand that when we get a project, when we get a client that asks us of something, they might not know what they actually want or what they need because they are not familiar with the idea, and so they come to us saying that we want you to redesign this, whatever, a distribution contract or whatnot. So it is your job as a legal designer to understand that you need to look beyond that. Sure, you can do that document, but what else can you do? Can you create templates? Can you share them? Can you change something within the company, something larger? And that is something that we think you should carry with you through the whole project also.
I 100% agree with that one also, and I think that you summarized it nicely also. Like this can only be done together with the client. So we need close collaboration with the client, and we need to think like that the clients are obviously on the same side, and we need to kind of like walk them through the journey that maybe we took also at some point.
Yeah. And also that I think what we take all the time, because we too iterate our processes all the time. So we do kind of, when you find something, when you come up with a good idea, I think what you need to do is then you take a step back and you kind of go through it again. Is it really a good idea? Can it be a better idea? Can you do something differently? Yeah. And we do that all the time.
Anyways, that's the final thought what we want to give you. Like, stay strong, especially when times are tough and the budgets are very tight. You know, you have to stay strong, my fellow legal designers. Stay strong and demand that all projects feature collaboration and design research, and this will help your clients to level up in the maturity scale and unlock the true value of legal design.
And also, don't forget to be curious yourself, because we think that this is evolving all the time, and so you need to, and we need to evolve with it.
Thank you very much, Antti and Kristen. That was a brilliant presentation, and thank you for your precious tips and insights about legal design projects. And dear audience, do you have any questions for Antti and Kristen? You can ask by writing to chat, or you can ask directly by opening your mics.
And you get the slides. Yeah,
sure.
Sure. We are all about sharing, so we will most definitely share our slides with you. Yeah, and actually that's very, very good what you said also about the sharing, that legal people are generally closed about sharing, and that is true, but it is also maybe somewhat curious, because I don't think it is very often that people maybe come up with brand new ideas. Like if you write a contract, you do something, you design a whatever, it's usually full of boilerplates that have been included in all the other contracts before that.
I think that you know, if you would look at software industry, for example, and see how they disseminate information there's a big kind of like discrepancy there. Like, lawyers are very, like, the legal information is very proprietary. And I think that we should move into that direction, that we should share more of our work and of our information also. That would help the whole business to evolve.
And there's a question from Bilge Kavas. She asks, are there any methods of you use for your projects other than KPIs?
Yes, we always try to track the KPIs of the project. We have something that you know, we invented or maybe rebranded a little bit, like legal design objectives, LDOs is what we call them. And we always try to get like 2 or 3 like very realistic KPIs to follow, and then we try to have one unrealistic one, or a moonshot or something like that, that could help us to think big also. So we want to have like these like realistic like objectives of the project, but also like one unrealistic or bigger like kind of like KPI that kind of like drives our thinking also further than the pilot projects. And this is sometimes the problem with KPIs also. You focus on the KPIs so hard that in the end, you hit all the KPIs, but still the project doesn't have that kind of like bigger impact also. Yeah. So you become essentially what you measure. And that's why the measurements have to be there also, but they have to be both realistic and unrealistic if you want to have like a big impact also. Yeah.
Thank you, Antti. And I guess there is a hand from Sinan Erkan. Sinan Erkan, you can ask your question directly.
Oh, I don't think your mic is on.
Your mic was
on. You can hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Thank you both for your presentation. First of all, I would like to ask regarding the open source insurance policies. That's one of the fields I'm interested in, particularly in the field of IP and software implemented inventions. And given that this very product would be beneficial in terms of insurance law, not a field that I have knowledge of, but nevertheless, I would like to ask if there might be cyber security issues with relevance to personal data, especially in the field of insurance. As you may know, open source law is very beneficial in terms of IND and getting the data and then building something up from it and then sharing it within the ecosystem. But given the problems regarding cybersecurity, how can we perhaps deal with it? It's more of a legal tech question. Apologies, not a legal design question. But given that this software would be used later on for the legal design itself, I wondered and would like to get your opinions on this.
Yeah, I think that this is a problem that might exist in other parts too, and maybe it's thought of like lawyers have balanced like security, kind of like and the openness by not sharing anything. Yeah. I think that's you're absolutely right that we have to take that into account, especially when sharing something of tech related, that it might be difficult to scale or like if I would have legal tech products, it would be difficult to share them as they are in GitHub or in Stack Overflow. But I think that in general, we need to shift from that kind of like proprietary data, from that kind of idea that all legal information or all legal tech is proprietary, into something that is a little bit more open sourced. There might be some limitations. You're absolutely right there, but that's kind of like the general idea. That's how I think that the whole business could evolve also, to be a little bit more open there. But you're bringing up a very good point that maybe not everything is as easily shareable as in some other businesses. Yes. Thanks, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sinan Erkan. And I can see some questions from chat. What are good methods to help your clients measure the ROI on a pilot legal design project? It's a question from Ribeiro Araujo.
Yeah. This is something that we always do together with our clients. So we don't force any measures, like we don't measure clicks or track eye contact or anything like that. We kind of like try to collaborate with the clients and try to figure out together with them what they would like to have as an outcome from a legal design project. Or are like the hard limits are always like it needs to have some kind of like design research also, so it can be like just waterfall processes, but for that one it's there's not like one definite answer that I can get. Only thing that I can say is like collaborate with your clients and try to figure out together with your clients those KPIs.
Yeah.
always try to measure some way. And third, you become what you measure. So see that the measurements aren't like the KPIs aren't so strict that the project is just fulfilling those KPIs, because then the bigger idea, the bigger impact usually gets lost. So try to have both realistic KPIs and those unrealistic moonshots that would drive the change then.
Yeah, and it's like Antti said, it's a matter of communication. So that is something that we find very important to make clear right from the start. So we communicate with the client, see what they want, and then we tell what we think they also need, and then we agree on those KPIs together.
One thing that I want to still answer is the question from SNL there who
Yes.
asked if we have designed something for the client and they have not incorporated it. And I think that happened previously quite a lot with our clients also, that sometimes if we did kind of like a very like we designed something that was very like out there and was really innovative, that the client might not have even incorporated the privacy policy or something like that. That doesn't necessarily mean that the project was a failure. Maybe they took something away from it. Maybe they are incorporated parts of that one also. But yeah, it happens sometimes, but it happens much less than with the traditional legal work. I've drafted several privacy policies and terms of services that didn't get incorporated in my previous work also, which was basically like those run-of-the-mill policies also. So if you think of like the impact of design and this kind of like true collaboration with the client, I think you increase the chances of the policy getting like actually like working for the client and actually incorporated into their website or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Sometimes pushback might come from IT also, because traditional legacy systems, they are not maybe that flexible and cannot, like if we put like let's say icons to the contract, maybe sometimes the IT systems just don't support pictures or something like that. So that's maybe the maturity also that we need to increase in terms of client. Yes.
And one more question from Nas on reviewing contracts. She asks, not preparing and coming up with a draft to send to other parties, but when you receive someone else's contacts, do you have any means to simplify the reviewing process to help your clients in connection with legal design?
I feel that many legal contracts could be standardized also. Maybe that would help also, like reviewing NDAs, for example. It's quite a lot of like, it's waste of time basically. Like they are very standard form, but I think that kind of like like having more standardized documents, maybe that will happen when people start sharing their documents also a little bit more, could help the reviewing process also. Maybe if we had one well-designed privacy policy that could be a little bit modular, that you could kind of like change it to fit your needs, and it would make the reviewing process a little bit easier also. So I don't know, maybe that would be something that would be worthwhile to explore.
That would be great. It would be easier for the client also, because they would also always know that what privacy policies mean. It means this one thing every time.
Yeah.
But it's obviously not that easy. So that's not what we are working on currently.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? We have maybe for one question time. If not, maybe you can share your ideas about for our younger audiences to how to feed their curiosity to be a legal designer in the future. How do any recommendations for law students maybe?
I'll go first. stay in contact with your old buddies from the university that are studying something else than law, for example. If you're a lawyer, stay in contact with your old friends and kind of like try to get their perspective on your own work. That will help you a lot also. That's maybe my number one recommendation. And the second one is that take an internship at a design agency or a tech company or someplace else that is a little bit off from your normal career path, and you will learn a lot of things. Just like spending time with different kind of people, with tech people, with designers, with economists, you'll get a lot of new perspectives for your own work.
Yeah, and I think I just want to add one thing. I think it's very important to stay curious about other ideas as well, because I at least have a lot of friends in law school still who are not into legal design, but they might be into something else, like combining legal with something else. And I think that is equally important. So if you want people to get interested in your idea, you need to be interested in their idea, because you can never know when maybe in 5 years you suddenly realize that, hey, we can combine environmental law with legal design suddenly, and then it's very important that you have those connections and that they remember your name and that you remember theirs.
So trying to find those like legal X something else is I think that keeps you curious, right?
Thank you very much.